Hey, this is Johnny Cox. This is part 2 in my series of videos about playing chords on the bass. And in this video I'm going to finish off the idea that I started in part 1 of making chords by playing double stops over open strings. So in the first video we looked at how we can harmonise scales into intervals of a third, play them over an open string, and we make a series of chords. Now in this video we're going to do a similar thing, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the interval that I'm harmonising the scales in. Now if you're not sure what an interval is, then please check out my video about intervals, which is also available on johnnycoxmusic.com. It'll explain everything you need to know about intervals and how to play them on the bass. So if you're not sure about intervals, then just check out that video first, and then this video will make a lot more sense. Okay, so example 1, I'm harmonising a C major scale into intervals of a fourth. It sounds like this. Now just to put that into some kind of context, here's how a C major scale sounds when it's harmonised in intervals of a third. And here's how it sounds again in intervals of a fourth. So this is example 1 again. Okay, so you can see that even though it's the same scale that I'm harmonising, changing the interval I'm harmonising it with makes a big difference to the sound. And so now we're going to add an open string to that, and it's going to give us a new set of sounds and a new set of chords. So here's example 2, which is the same C major scale harmonised into intervals of a fourth as in example 1, only this time played with an open A string. As always with my examples, I would really encourage you to experiment with them and, you know, just have a bit of fun with them. Play them the way that you want to play them, mix them about a bit. It's really fun to play around with that one. I love those fourths. Okay, so now let's take this idea further, and now I'm going to harmonise that same C major scale, only this time in intervals of a fifth. And I'm going to play it over an open A string. So this is example 3. So another slightly different sound there. And now the next one, example 4, this is a C major scale again, harmonised in sixths and played over an open A string. So you see the sixths give us another slightly different sound, and it's a really beautiful sound. I love the sound of those sixths. Okay, so that's sixths. Okay, so now for these next few examples, I'm just going to do exactly the same thing again, but I'm just going to change the scale and I'm going to change the open string. So instead of using a C major scale, I'm going to use a D major scale. Instead of using an A open string, I'm going to use an E open string, and it's going to give us another new set of sounds. So here's example 5, and this is a D major scale harmonised in intervals of a fourth played over an open E string. Okay, so you can see that I'm going all the way up to my 24th fret there, which is the highest fret that I have on this bass. This bass has got 24 frets on it. So in fact, in that last chord that I just played, I'm using the lowest note on my bass and the highest note on my bass together, which I think is quite cool. I've always loved to explore the full range of the bass and use all the frets that are available to me. So apologies if you've only got 20 frets on your bass or you've got less than 24. You can still play through these exercises. You might just have to move some of these higher chords that I'm playing up here just down an octave, but they'll still work, and you can still use the same ideas and adapt them to your own styles. So in example 6, I'm going to harmonise this same D major scale, or all the notes from a D major scale, and I'm going to harmonise them in intervals of a fifth this time and play them over an open E string. Okay, so example 7 now is all the notes from a D major scale, harmonized into intervals of a sixth and played over an open E string. And you'll notice that now we're playing our open E string rather than our open A string. It gives us a slightly different option for fingering for these sixth intervals. Okay, so you can see that the possibilities here are massive. If you think about all the different scales that we can harmonise and all the different intervals that we can use to harmonise those scales with, and we can play them over different open strings, and it gives us a lot of options here. So what I'm giving you is just a very, very quick snapshot of some of the ideas that you can do with this, and I'm hoping that you're going to take them away and work some out for yourself and just be creative with them, basically, because that's the point here. So before I leave you, I'm just going to give you one more idea in example 8. Do you remember that A melodic minor scale that we used at the end of video 1? Well, I'm going to play that same scale again over an A open string, and this time I'm going to harmonise it into intervals of a sixth, and it's going to sound like this. Okay, so thanks again so much for checking out johnnycoxmusic.com, and stay tuned because there's going to be many more videos coming up soon.